non-conference games. We'll get to that in a minute, but we have to discuss this. Watching Tiger in 2019 for me, watching Nicklaus in 1986 for me, and now watching Mickelson, those are people beating Father Time. Tiger's beaten a lot of things. Mickelson had really just kind of been on and off, always incredibly talented and gifted. What in the world? He didn't dominate, but kind of did the whole week.
What he did was and this is not like Phil normally, because Phil in the past has been, he's a risk taker. And when he's won, those risks have paid off. But he was able to, overcome the wind and everything else that was going on and the weather and the course. And he played it very smart the whole time. And, he also let the tournament come to him. I thought at the end yesterday, he hit one in the water on 13. And I was like, oh my gosh, is old Phil just...
Is that the one that was in the front of the green and he hit it? He got a great drop because he could putt. Rarely do you ever get a drop, a penalty stroke and a drop, and you get the putter out.
But he got an early lead. I mean, he played well on the first day, and then he let the tournament come to him. He let it come to him, and everybody else had to do things. And I was shocked. Like, going into Sunday, I thought, well, this is good. Phil's there, but I thought that Koepka, Oosthuizen, or Streelman would be able to be a little more aggressive than him, especially on those par fives, and make up some strokes. Brooks Koepka couldn't do it. Brooks Koepka was +4 on the par fives alone, and that's why he lost the tournament. If he's even on the par fives, he probably wins.
Yeah, he was 4 over when I saw, I guess he might have parred, maybe one at the end, but it was unbelievable. It was stunning, especially since Koepka got right there with him at the beginning. Craig, 50 years old. We saw Irwin win a U.S. Open once when he was very old. Tiger won the Masters 2 years ago, 19, and then obviously Nicklaus in 1986 when he was, I think, 46 years old. There's certain guys when I was growing up, athletes, whatever sport, teams, I didn't like them. But as you get a little bit older, you start to mellow a little bit, and you start to like. And I like the story. Your thoughts about Mickelson? I know you're not the most huge. By the way, Craig won the PicKell.
Yeah,
beat Armstrong by 5 strokes.
Which, by the way, I think for the record, we said when we did our segment last week that everyone lost the Masters. I think I won.
You did win the Masters?
I think just because I was the only one who had everyone make the cut. I'm sure.
If you had everybody make the cut, then you won the Masters, and Craig's now won the PGA Championship.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, that was cool. I haven't made it out of the first cut, I don't think, in like most of these selections that we've done. So, yeah, just to have it matter for, the entire tournament, that was good. And, that's why you pick and you try. There's times where, I was saying last week, like, gosh, I don't even know why I do this because I just having such bad luck. But fortunately, I had better luck this time around. I was able to edge Armstrong with the team that I had yesterday, and thanks to Rob Bolton for keeping track of that, throughout the weekend and keeping us updated, and for his nice message as well. But I don't really have a way to really compare Phil to anything because it doesn't register for me like it does for you guys who have been following him for a while and following golf for a while. I know it's an incredible accomplishment. It's just amazing to see somebody go out there and dominate the way that he did when he was. Like, I think it was Rob even said on Friday, like, hey, nobody's picking Phil, and nobody was even thinking twice about it, but yet here he is. He goes out and just crushes it. So, congratulations to him. It's a great moment in sports. It had everybody in the sports world kind of buzzing yesterday in a positive way, which was nice and refreshing. And that's kind of been the case now for what feels like a couple of weeks, really. It kind of feels like things have sort of mellowed a little bit, and this was a big moment, so congratulations to Mickelson.
Yeah, 50 years old, he wins it, you look at various eras from whatever you might have had before, and then eventually from Bobby Jones, and then you have the Nelson, and then you have, even Hagen or Sarazen, and then you have that Nicklaus, a Palmer player, Nicklaus, Trevino, whatever. Now you look at Mickelson has 6 majors, and Tiger has 15, and we know he blew about 4 or 5 years where he couldn't win one for various reasons. But those two have pushed each other to an unbelievable, Mickelson was so controlled. I think he's chewing that marijuana gum.
He had a big.
I think I really am, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that whatever you could. He just looks so calm, and Tiger had that same that gum chewing. at the Masters 2 or 3 years ago.
You know, that look on 18, it kind of like it was kind of a microcosm of what the tournament was at that 18th hole of he hits a shot into the crowd essentially. I mean, just the first row of the crowd, which they let get completely out of control. But hit a shot in the first row of the crowd. Then his next shot, his approach on 18 to win the golf tournament, he just knocked it stiff.
Yeah, it was over.
There was a time in Phil's career where if he had done that on 18, he might have still won the tournament, but when it threw up the graphic that said 3 putts to win the tournament, he would have used all 3.
Yeah, he would have.
But it just shows he was very calm and
on 17 though, did you hear his brother saying you don't have to be a hero here? When he was in that junk, that high grass, and he still was able to chunk it out far enough.
And I'm like you, Smoaky. You and I, kind of have the same fandom when it comes to golfers, really, especially with Tiger Woods. But I've never been a big fan of Phil Mickelson, and he always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But look, when a 50-year-old dude wins a major, I mean, you got to celebrate that.
No, that was great.
Like whether I, was a fan of his or not, and my favorite golf story of all time is what Tiger did at the Masters when they were paired together when Tiger was, 22 or 21 years old and broke Phil mentally. But even still, it was really interesting and cool to watch a 50-year-old dude win a major, which has never happened. And look, I've got to take some medicine. 4 years. And Butch and I used to get into it on our old show about, I said, look, Phil's done winning a major. And it wasn't just because I disliked him. It was just because once he hit 45 years old, the odds are not in his favor. The people who had done it are, Jack Nicklaus and Hale Irwin and guys like that. So he was going to be the guy who did it because he was that kind of golfer.
You win the Masters and maybe the British Open after 40.
Yeah.
Because they're about the courses, even though the British Open does rotate. There are certain courses that still match no matter how. Remember, Watson was like 58 or 9 a few years back and had a putt to win the British Open. You don't win majors. You don't win the PGA and the U.S. Open after about 40. You just don't have the nerves to do it.
But if you think about, Nicklaus won at 46, right?
Yeah.
46. So if you think about the kind of talent you have to win a major after 45 years old, then Phil was going to be the guy who did that. And so, but I was wrong. I thought he was done doing it. He proved me wrong, and good for him.
By the way, had a great meeting earlier today with Texas Farm Bureau Insurance and McLennan County agents. Appreciate Jimmy Green and all of them who allowed me to get in front of them and kind of talk a little bit about SicEm365 Radio. And it also reminded me, we are online. We are on the app. We're also on YouTube, and that's something that has soared in the last 2 or 3 months. Plus, you could still watch us on Twitter, Facebook, Periscope, whatever, all the opportunities out there. And I also was able to help an 80-year-old, not this morning, but an 80-year-old download the app and understand that the app is not just the audio, but the video as well. You could actually stream us both audio and video. For those, sometimes we take that for granted. We shouldn't on SicEm365 Radio. I have never paid more